Welcome back to the Pale Wizard YouTube channel. My name's Tim and this is Dan, and we're going to be doing another episode of our series of cheap records and cheap beer today. So Dan, if you just want to run through the rules quickly of cheap records, cheap beer.
So we have to find a second-hand record for £5 or less in a shop or online, and we've got to find a cheap beer to pair along with it. Is it less than £2.50 or less? Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
So, do you want to tell us what beer? Because Tim's bought the beers today. Thank you very much, Tim.
It's your record and my beer. We're having a bit of a mismatch, aren't we?
Yeah.
I've gone for a Brewdog Wingman, which is an IPA from Brewdog.
Session IPA.
Yeah. I've had a few Brewdog beers in the past, but I've never had this one. So
I find them really up and down. Brewdog.
Yeah, they're a very hit and miss for me as well. 4.3%, so not incredibly strong. They do an IPA which is like 6.7 or something, quite. So I don't think that would even qualify, because most Brewdog beers are quite expensive compared to.
You know, the thing that annoys me about Brewdog is it's very difficult to buy their drinks on their own. They like to do these 6-packs or 4-packs now, don't they?
Yeah. Well, indeed, I bought these in a 4-pack for £6, so that makes it £1.50.
£1.50 a beer. But they are small.
Yeah, they are. But
because their punk IPA, I really can't get on with that. I used to love that.
Is that the one in the blue can?
Think so.
Yeah.
I used to think that was a really good beer, and I think it's gone downhill. I don't know if they've changed brewery or something, but
is it brewed in Scotland? Are they brewed in Scotland?
I'm not sure actually.
I know they're based in Scotland. There you go at the top there. Yeah, Scotland.
Brewed and canned.
Brewed
in the UK. Scotland,
yeah.
Ellen. Right. Yeah, I know they've had some controversy, haven't they, Brewdog, over the years?
They have, yeah.
Let's get them out, shall we?
Let's see what it's like. Ooh.
I've gone for a fairly rigorous pour on mine.
Yeah.
You've gone for a very rigorous pour, Tim.
I have, yeah.
Ooh,
nice and frothy.
Do you want a flake in that? Right.
I can smell, before I even say anything, I could smell that overwhelming citrus that's coming out of this. So, I think this is why I picked it up, because I sort of looked at it and said it was quite sort of citrusy.
Very hoppy as well.
Yeah.
But then these IPAs, New World IPAs, do tend to have a very kind of pronounced hop character. I find it interesting how that, you know, these fruity IPAs, there's never actually any fruit in them. It's actually all comes from the hop, which I find really interesting.
Yeah.
I'll talk about the record I bought today, which is Dance by Gary Numan. I picked this up in a record shop in Midsummer Norton a couple of years ago.
Okay. That record shop in Midsummer Norton?
Yeah.
Where the Wonder Bar used to be.
Yeah.
Opposite. Yeah, I've been there.
And I already did own a copy of this, but the copy I had skipped like hell, so I had to buy another one. And this one skips as well, but only on one track.
Which track is it? Because I listened to my copy earlier on today.
It's the first track.
Oh no, it was. Or was it? No, it's the second track.
That's weird.
Yeah, but only skipped once.
Well, the other one I had skips all over the place.
One particular part, and I had to. I picked the stylus up and put it back down, and it played through again fine. So,
right.
So it may have just been a one-off.
Yeah, it's not a bad copy of this. I think I paid £3 for it. It's not in bad.
Has it got a poster?
Ooh. No.
It hasn't.
Does yours?
It does, and I did bring mine, actually. When I say mine, I think my wife bought this in Bristol, the old market, Bristol.
Yeah.
St Nick's Market.
How much did she pay?
I think it was a tenner, so mine wouldn't have qualified for this. But I did bring it.
That is a nice
because
copy.
It was advertised. I think it says still on the front there, mint.
Yeah, it is in good nick.
And it's got the poster.
It does have the poster.
Yeah.
Should we get it out?
So let's have a look at the poster, because I haven't. Well, maybe I did when we first bought it, but that was must have been 7 or 8 years ago now. Not longer.
Oh yeah, cool.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? Actually.
Very cool.
He's got himself a a Brewdog IPA there.
I think that's a Black Heart. A stout.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very nice. It was a bit of a striking look for Numan, this, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, this was him. This was the first album he made after he decided he wasn't going to tour anymore, and he wasn't going to do this kind of music which had gotten so popular. This, like, you know, electronic music.
Well, this is really the first proper solo album, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
So obviously after Tubeway Army, because obviously like Replicas was still a Tubeway Army album, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of since kind of known as a Gary Numan album, but it's Tubeway Army. And then was it Pleasure Principle after that, and then Telecon?
Telecon and this, and this Assassin after this, isn't it?
Oh, I Assassin came after,
I
yeah.
Assassin was the one. Yeah, so this is like the third one, the third like solo album, like the first proper.
So Pleasure,
they're classed as Gary Numan albums.
So Pleasure Principle and Telecom were Gary Newman,
but they're really.
But he had the backing band.
They're
Didn't he?
basically the band, yeah. Whereas this is just the first.
Him properly going out,
and him sort of changing, because I Assassin had like Music for Chameleons and stuff, didn't it? Whereas this doesn't really have, other than She's Got Claws, doesn't really have the singles, does it? So. No.
So what this does have, which is very prevalent on I Assassin, is that fretless bass sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, because I noticed it had a distinct kind of Japan sound about it.
Well, there's a guy from Japan. Is it the bass player?
The bass player,
yeah, there you go.
Mick Khan, and I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
I really like.
Were quite a big thing around that time, so
it's a really good album. This. It's not my favourite Gary Numan, but I think it's a very interesting one. It's a turning point in his career, isn't it?
It's it shows, I think, that he was really listening to a lot of like Brian Eno, probably Kraftwerk and all that kind of stuff, because it's so sort of minimalist. A lot of it. That last track at the end of side 1, which is called
Slow Car to China.
Yeah, especially that.
Very Blade Runner.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's around that time as well, isn't it? When the Blade Runner movie came out. This has got my favourite Gary Numan song of all time on it, which is She's Got Claws.
That's a great song.
Yeah. Nothing else on the album I think comes close to it, but then I don't think nothing else on the album is really supposed to come close to it. The rest of it's more of like a mood kind of piece, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple of like Stories is very poppy and upbeat, and it's got loads of beeps and boops, and it's quite addictive.
Yeah,
but it's still not a single.
It doesn't have those kind of She's Got Claws has got the chorus, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's a really good song now. Crash is really good. There's a few that are, the second track, Night Talk, and Boys Like Me. I'm not that bothered by those.
Mm-hmm.
The one I really like is A Subway Called You. It's got like really cool sax solo in it.
Yeah.
Which is almost kind of goes off in like a Middle Eastern vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've listened to the previous albums before that, it's a real change, isn't it? And it's that fretless bass, that labyrinth kind of thing going on.
Now, it's also got, cause I think at the bottom here he says, thanks to, here he goes, Roger Taylor, who's on this album as well, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Did you know that before?
I had no idea.
Yeah. I was looking at it when I listened to it again.
What's he doing on it?
This afternoon. Well, it says, and to Roger Taylor for The Airman.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. He's obviously playing on it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, you got a bit of Queen, a bit of Japan.
Things started kind of dropping off a bit of a cliff for Gary Numan after this, and then I Assassin obviously got that great Music for Chameleons, which is amazing, but things really took a nosedive after that, and he was never liked by the press, was he? They hated him.
No. Well, I think this was probably really a mistake from him from an artistic viewpoint, or maybe from a commercial viewpoint.
Artistically, it's
solid. I think
it is.
It didn't do anything for his career. I think She's Got Claws was a top 10 hit.
Yeah,
but
it's aged well.
No, I mean Cars was number 1, wasn't it, a couple of years before? So yeah, and it has aged well. But then this kind of thing is quite popular now, isn't it? So, yeah. I've always liked this album. Right? It does get a bit of hate here and there, Did have some negative reviews at the time, but then most Gary Numan albums did. Yeah,
everything did. A lot of it got reappraised years later on. It's definitely a very moody album. Like I said, Blade Runner. It was early science fiction 80s stuff. It's it's a really good album to clean the kitchen to. I've discovered. But it doesn't feel, there's parts of the album where it doesn't feel like it gets out of second gear.
I know what you mean.
Kind of...
You're kind of expecting it to build to something.
I
think that's because of the way it is so minimalist, and it is almost like it's building, but it's never really... It's almost like that sort of slow build music.
And the drums, obviously, they're mostly electronic and synth-based, but they're very tribal on this album. Like his earlier stuff was a bit more kind of fall to the floor, even though it was electronic still. This is a bit more... so it's kind
a bit more jazzy, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But yeah, I really enjoyed listening to it.
I think it stands alone, doesn't it, really, in his discography as well. So,
what do you think of the beer?
Cool. Yeah, I like this, actually. Yeah. I do like it. That's the kind of thing that I would drink in a pub. Maybe,
It's quite grapefruity,
5 or 6
isn't it?
pints of that would go down quite well.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, actually.
It's not massively strong, so 4.3, did I say? Yeah, 4.3%. So yeah,
nicely carbonated. So that was Cheap Records and Cheap Beer. See you next time.